it's easier to build a platform from fresh than to take over something. But we had a lot of good people that were underutilized who knew exactly what to do. I mean, if you have a look at Range Rover, when the new company came in and took over Range Rover years ago, they got all the guys on who were working on cars and said, "What would you build?" And they designed the Evoque, which is the biggest success in the company's history.
Oh, wow.
We've done the same thing.
This podcast is sponsored by Pragmatic Solutions, the player account management platform chosen by today's smart betting and gaming operators. Don't let technical constraints delay you from achieving your business goals. Expand your business, boost your margins, and dominate the market in any leading regulated jurisdiction with our powerful, flexible, and secure iGaming platform. Enjoy its extensive marketing tools, compliance protection, real-time data, and a wide portfolio of over 1,000 industry providers. It's time to upgrade your technology. Let Pragmatic Solutions show you the modern approach. Visit pragmatic.solutions and join the smart thinkers.
This podcast is brought to you by Pragmatic Play, a leading game developer providing player favorites to the most successful brands across the industry. With an award-winning multi-product portfolio of slots, live casino, bingo, virtual sports, and more, Pragmatic Play is powering up new possibilities of play through one single API. Visit pragmaticplay.com and discover your favorite every time.
Bingo, James. Welcome back to the podcast here for the second visit in under a year. How are you doing, James?
Yeah, no, really good, thanks. It's nice to see you again.
Absolutely, James. And the CEO of Yggdrasil, of course, you've had an incredibly busy year. And, when we were planning the podcast here the other day, it was so interesting to follow up with you and to hear the work that you have done. Because last time we spoke, you were kind of undergoing this transformational process in Yggdrasil, and you were starting to see the fruits of your labor. But here we are now, about around a year since you took over, and you've done a complete transformation of the company. And for me, what is really interesting in the discussion that we're going to have today is probably what is the most difficult thing to do in business is to turn a company that is sliding downwards in a downward trend, turning it around and creating a positive momentum trend again. And speaking to you the other day and kind of warming up for this session, it was so inspirational to hear that. So I just want to kind of kick off things today by talk a little bit more about the journey in the last 12 months with Yggdrasil.
Well, it's been a fantastic time. I think we've made a huge amount of changes, and we've done 3 rounds of changes, because one of the things that I've experienced many times is that the people who take you from A to B aren't always the people that take you from B to C. So we've had a few different rounds of restructure already within 12 months. We have 100% brand new SMT. A senior management team is all new or grown from within. So that's a full change, and 75% of the people who are with us now are either new to the company or been promoted from within. And I think that's what really needed to happen to create change. I mean, we try and be really transparent and have lots of conversations with our people around why we make the changes we do. And one of the questions was, why have we made so many changes, and why have we lost some good people? And I think one of the really difficult things that you have to do when you go into a new company is you have to identify why good people might have failed or why things have gone wrong. And one of the biggest things, and we discussed it the other day, some of the most difficult jobs of a CEO, if you've been homegrown, is when things start to go wrong that you're so close to people you can't make changes. And the other thing that happens is when you're a new CEO that's been brought in, you've been probably brought in quite late in the decision making by the shareholders, so that they want to see action really fast. And I think that when a company starts to go into decline, you have to act really quickly and try and reinvent everything. And some of the people who have been part of that massive success can't reinvent to go forward, and that's why the change needs to happen, and that's what we had to do. So, we lost a lot of people and reinvent, but we had to reinvent the business, and I don't think that Yggdrasil anymore is a company that builds slots. I feel that Yggdrasil is a tech company, and will be challenging everyone in the industry with our tech advancements, and part of that is our slots, but it's not everything. I mean, we have a new focus, which is a new North Star, which the whole company is behind and everyone understands it, and it's been very transparent that that's our ambition is to be the biggest aggregator in the world of content.
Wow.
2023, when I joined, I think we were in position 23 for launching content across the industry. 2025, we will be in second place to Games Global. Wow. So we're going to launch over 170 games this year with our, not only our games, but also our Masters partners games. And Masters has become a substantial part of our business model going forwards. We have more Masters partners than ever, and we support them in a stronger and better way than ever before. And I think that we're building a platform that will be able to consume huge amounts of content. So again, when I first joined on a platform basis, we could take under 10,000 bets per minute. And now our platform can deal with over 200,000 bets per minute. So I think that it's about building a tech stack that can keep up with, that's innovative and can keep up with the pace that you want to go at. And we want to be able to take on any game possible. So whether that's a slot or a crash game or live dealer or an RNG game, or anything new that comes out into the market, we want to be able to consume it and distribute it. And unlike everyone else, we're an open platform for all partners. So people are allowed to come in and speak to us, and we can help them distribute and guide them of what works and what doesn't work. And I think that when we think about the year that we've had, we've already built a brand new platform. And there's still some work to do on it. We're already moving off of Google onto AWS to allow us to be massively scalable. We've built brand new APIs that have AI monitoring in and fraud detection, which are already working, which allows us to go really safely into crypto markets and other markets where people have really struggled and been abused. So we've done a huge amount of work, and that's been achievable because we've made so many changes. And I think that one of the first things that I did is when you're a brand new CEO, your first hire is a testament to what good looks like. And I hired Alex Hayward, who's our CTO and managing director of Poland and looks after tech for the company. And I honestly believe he's the best engineer in the industry by far. And I would challenge anyone to say that he's not. He would challenge everyone to say that he's not as well. But I mean, he's a disruptive force. He challenges us every day. He challenges me. He challenges the teams. And one of the things that we've learned from the courses that I've put the whole team on around how companies are strong in the future is you need to have disruptive people in your company, disruptive experts like Alex. We also brought in Jose Cadala, who's our chief commercial officer, who's fantastically connected and super aggressive and massively motivated. And, so they're our massive disruptors within our business. And then we looked for the diamonds within our business as well, So some of the people in our SMT have been promoted from within. So Thomas, who's our director of product, he's a stable steward. He's the guy that keeps everyone together. And Denise, our new legal counsel, general counsel, again, she's been there for a long time. She holds everyone together, and Josh in compliance and Nick in finance, again, they're our stable stewards. And when you have a look at companies that really succeed and have longevity, you need you need a mix of your stable stewards within the company and your massive disruptors, and you need to get that mix right. If you get it wrong, it's really difficult. And I think my job is to try and make sure that they all get on together and they challenge each other. But that has been part of the success of turning the company around. So to have so many new people in the company. I mean, we've moved to a hybrid system as well. So it's 3 days in the office and 2 days work from home. When you have so many new people, you can't have a work from home strategy. And I think that's, I see on LinkedIn, Spotify advertising, we trust everyone can work from home. But if you've got a company where everyone's been working together for years and they all know each other, that's okay. But if you have a company that has a lot of turnover and you're trying to create something new, then you have to create relationships, and the only way that you can do that is from doing it at home, from not doing that at home, from coming into the office. I can see you have a question.
Well, it should be noted that Spotify has made a loss for 17 years in a row also, so
there you go.
Maybe we shouldn't take their word for granted, let's say.
No, exactly. And I have people challenging me saying, well, Spotify do it, but they're not making money.
They haven't made money for 18 years.
No, but I think that's all part of the journey that we're trying to go through. So we became obsessed, or I instilled an obsession very, very early on our 4 pillars, which was be efficient, create sustainability in our products and everything that we do, be disruptive, and try and launch new product. And we focused on the first 2 for the first 6 months, and I think that drove the massive change through the company.
And James, I mean, you've come in as a new CEO, and you obviously created this huge amount of change. And thinking about it, like, wouldn't it used to have been easier to start a new company?
Well, I don't know. I always get given the tough gigs, so I think that's what people expect. I mean, there's
no, but I mean, rather than this like incredible transformational change of an existing company, why not take Yggdrasil?
Well, I think Yggdrasil has an amazing but Yggdrasil has an amazing brand. It's a fantastic brand. It was known for innovation. It has some spectacular content and IP. People loved it when I got there, and I think people love it even more now. So I think that building a brand is tough. Turning around a company within a great brand is easier than creating something brand new again. So we've leveraged the brand. We've leveraged all of the diamonds that we found within the company and promoted them, which is why we've had this big upskill. And we've utilized what is the best thing that Yggdrasil had, which was the huge aggregation platform that exists today, and we've massively monetized that, and we've turned it around, and that is the core part of our business now. The reinvention of Yggdrasil is through all of the good work they did over the last 10 years in plugging so many different operators in. We're now live with over 260 operators, over 1,000 brands. We have contracts coming in every single day where people want more content, and we're now unlocking all the other new opportunities to us, the States and Brazil and sweepstakes. So we have the massive ability to grow and be able to cope with that growth, and it's easier to build a platform from fresh than to take over something. But we had a lot of good people that were underutilized who knew exactly what to do. I mean, if you have a look at Range Rover, when the new company came in and took over Range Rover years ago, they got all the guys on the who were working on cars and said, "What would you build?" And they said, and they designed the Evoque, which is the biggest success in the company's history.
Oh, wow.
We've done the same thing.
Yeah. And what would you say, looking back at the history of Yggdrasil, it came from huge success, and then at somewhere along the line, it's lost its mojo. What went wrong with Yggdrasil?
I think it's when you have a look at really successful companies, the first year you go into decline is the start of the water slide, and to stop and to get off a water slide is super difficult. And I believe that most companies just don't recognize that they need to panic when they go into decline. And I think that that's what happened with Yggdrasil. They didn't act fast enough. They didn't react to decline.
Was it complacency, would you say?
I think it's like when I said...
Not willingness to change.
I think it's always the willingness to change. The biggest thing so Alex Hill, who wrote the book Centennials, is our leadership coach, and we have 30 people in the company on a 18-month leadership program with him. And one of the things that he teaches is that when you go into decline, you have to reinvent yourself. And the best companies try and reinvent themselves before they go into decline.
You can never relax.
No. And the one thing that you should do is the first day that you go into decline, you should be in panic. And I don't think that people who have been successful and have seen that success, they don't panic early enough.
Right.
And by the time they do panic and they see a decline, they're too risk adverse to do anything about it.
I think also like observing the industry, iGaming was always doing well up until a certain point. I think around 2016, 2017 was the first time the industry actually saw a decline.
Yeah.
And something interesting at that time is that then you really notice which companies are robust and which are flawed by default. So everyone was doing well before.
Yeah, there was less.
Right?
There was less of them. It was huge market, less regulation.
Yes.
Lots more money for everyone to earn.
But I think also the point is sometimes you'll do well, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, of course. You just might be first.
Maybe the macroeconomics are such that the industry is growing so fast that it's very difficult to fail. But when times get tough is where you see the actual robust companies. That's when you can start to distinguish from the tough. And so sometimes maybe it's not even about the first year you see decline, but as you pointed out as well, it is always to try to stay on top and to understand what is it that we can do better. Because if you grow 10% a year, but the industry is growing 30% a year, that's also a sign of decline, let's say.
No, for sure. And I think that people, I think when you have a look at CEOs' tenures, they're getting shorter and shorter, which means that some people who have been a CEO become cautious, and new CEOs have to be more aggressive. So, and I think that's, and also knowing how to reinvent yourself is also complicated. If you're in the iGaming industry as a slots supplier, how do you reinvent yourself? What do you do? And I think that the first thing I did is once we had the new leadership team in place, we sat down and said, what do we have? And we have a fantastic aggregation platform. And we have the ability to get content live really fast. And we're a trusted brand. And we're known to be innovative. And we just had to turn that tap on. Right. And work towards that. And I think that one of the things that we've also done is we've just gone and hired absolutely spectacular people, consistently, whether they're new in the business or they've been in the business for some time. We've just really tried to cherry pick the really best people in the industry to help us move forwards.
And so many businesses might even recognize that they need change. They might recognize what they need to do. But actually the execution part is the most difficult part.
Yeah, for sure.
In your case, you recognized what you needed to do and you actioned it.
Yeah.
What are the secrets in between?
The biggest secret is be brave. I mean, I think it's people think that if you're being brave and you take risk, it means that you're putting the company at risk, and that's the biggest misconception. If you're in charge of a company that needs to turn around, needs to reinvent, needs to do more, needs to produce more revenues for the shareholders, needs to protect the people it's there, and you have to get used to taking risk. You have to be used to taking risk. You have to be brave. You have to be bold. You have to make sure that when you fail, that you just decide, okay, let's put that in the bin. Let's move on to the next thing. And you have to do it quickly. And you can never go too fast. Like everyone has to get used to taking risk, educated risk every day. And whatever pace you think you're going at, you're definitely going too slow. Like you're 100% going too slow. And my advice to anyone who's taking a new CEO role is go twice as fast as you believe that you should do, and that's still probably not quick enough. Because if you're really going to turn a company around and you're going to jump off that water slide of decline, you have to reinvent the company and you have to make drastic decisions. And the people who got you, the people who you inherit, are definitely not the people who are going to help you succeed and make that change. You're going to need new people in to help you do that, and that's why you have to make changes. And I think that's why CEOs who have been in the job for a long time and then go into decline have such a hard task, because they're friends with people.
That's what's holding companies back, right?
Yeah. I mean, it becomes personal, and there's small things that I do in order to, I mean, I think I'm probably one of the friendliest people in the company, and I try and make sure that I'm friendly, but I never stay in the same hotel as everyone else. When I travel, I normally travel separately. You know, I try, because I know that the people who get me a certain way in the company might not be with me my whole journey.
So this is a great lead up into a question that is talked about so much in business, which is, as a leader, should you be friends with your staff?
I think you can be friendly with your staff, but that doesn't mean that you can be friends with everyone. I mean, and I think one of the other things is that you need to have. Every really successful CEO that I know has people outside of his leadership team that he can speak to and bounce ideas off and everything else, whether that's a leadership coach or a shareholder or a chairman, or someone who is not day to day compromised by the decisions that you might make. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the biggest things that goes wrong for CEOs, that they don't have anyone outside of their small bubble to bounce stuff off and challenge them that you might be wrong. Yeah. And I think that I try and, I mean, I have great shareholders and I have a great chairman, and we have a great coaching team. So we're able to have those really difficult conversations where it's not about people, it's about what's best for the company, and that allows you just to have a much clearer vision about what needs to be done.
Yeah, and it's a dichotomy, isn't it? Because on the one hand, you want to be close to your staff and gain their trust and kind of get them to.
But you can do that.
You can do that.
Yeah.
At the same time,
yeah,
you don't want to get too close in that regard, is what you're saying, so that if change is needed, that is holding you back from taking those difficult decisions.
Agreed.
That's where we're going.
No, 100% agreed. And I think that one of the things that we've done at Yggdrasil is that we wiped out 60% of the management across the company. So we do not have several layers. If you're in a company that has 6, 7, 8 layers, right, that you've got it wrong. That's the number one rule. So we have 3 or 4 layers from top to bottom within all departments of the company, and every single member of the senior management team is a player coach, not a coach. And I think that's the key to success.
Right, that they can coach and they can play at the same time.
Yeah. So if you think of so everyone within the senior management team has a day-to-day job. No one just manages, not one person, not even me. So my player coaching is with the product team, and I sit with the product team twice a week, and I'm part of, we call it Asgard, and it's a team of all the people who are connected to the content that we make, and we are discussing what games we should build and what's successful and what worked well and what didn't work well. And I'm connected to the people from the ground up, so I feel what's happening every day. And Alex, who's CTO and managing director of Poland, is coding. He's sitting with the engineers and he's sitting there coding, and he's mentoring and leading and learning all at the same time. And same with Jose, same with Denise, same with Josh, same with Nick. Like, everyone is taking part in the jobs that need to be done on a daily basis, and that gives you a massive feel for the company. Nothing happens without the senior management knowing, like zero. So there's no surprises, and I think that makes you really strong, and it allows you to really understand what's happening in the business, and it allows you to react really fast when things are going wrong. And I think that too many CEOs sit in an office at the top of the building, whether it's virtually or physically, and they just don't speak to the people on the ground. And I think that has failure written all over it.
Right. At the same time as these principles are important to be able to move really fast and think what is the best for the company, and putting kind of emotions aside. At the same time, is there a risk that you create an environment where people are somewhat scared at all times?
Well, I think that's why a massive focus needs to be on culture, and you need to grow a really healthy culture in the company, and then people don't feel scared. They feel part of the journey. They feel engaged. They feel that they have connections with everyone, the senior people in the company. So if they have something to say, or they feel strongly about something, that they feel that they have a platform to do it. All of us have an open door policy. All of us speak to everyone within the company on a daily basis. We're all massively accessible. And we ran after our Christmas event where we had an all hands, and we were doing our values for the year, and we did some Welsh dancing as well for a couple of hours, which was challenging for all of us. But we realised that after that event, we spoke to our staff, and our NPS rating is at 71%, and it was single digit when I joined.
Oh wow!
So if you engage staff, if you tell them what your North Star is, you give them something to aim for, you speak to the people in the right way, you're respectful, and you treat everyone with integrity. Even when things go bad, you deal with it in the right way. I think that people become highly engaged and want to work for you in that type of environment, because they know that if they work for Yggdrasil now, they're the top of their game. They're special. Like, they're proud to be part of our team, and I think that's how you grow a culture. And our ratings have shown internally that's really starting to shine through.
And at the same time, you probably have a lot of professionals who would not thrive in that environment, because they might come from a more lax environment, let's say, or they aren't looking to create that hyper growth or to reinvent things, they might be more comfortable with that, 10% type of growth environment, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Those people don't work for us anymore.
They don't work for you anymore. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's important to recognize too, that it's not perhaps always about just changing people or to bring a certain attitude to people. It is also, you're looking for a specific type of personality type to work with.
Yeah, we're looking for highly energetic, highly skilled people. When we're going out looking for people, we're not obsessed with salaries. We're looking for skill sets. And then it's the job of the SMT, and they pitch different people to me on a daily basis saying we have to get this guy in because we think he's got something special, or this girl's got amazing skills, and we need to hire her. And they're the conversations we have. We talk about people's skill sets and what value they can bring to the company. And what I can tell you is that the engineers we have in now, yes, they cost a lot more than the engineers we had before. As an example, just talking about engineering. But, every engineer that works for us now probably does the job of 5 engineers somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that produces massive value. And when you let, and I think that's the risk, so many people when they're doing their financial budgets go, well, no, this is the cap for this job and this is the cap for that job. Well, we don't have caps for jobs. We have jobs that need to be done, and then we go and try and find the people with the skill sets to do it.
Yeah, it's such I think everyone can visualize people in their own organizations, but it's such a massive difference between a true A player and an average, say, B player in a team. Like if someone comes in with a true A player in a team, can really transform whatever department or job that they are doing. It's a huge difference. So
they
like
uplift everyone. Yeah. They uplift everyone around
them as well, and that salary might be twice as much as let's say the B player, but the value that someone like that brings to an organization is just invaluable.
Oh, for sure. And we were approached some time ago for actually from another company saying, can you recommend some people because we need these jobs to be done, and we have a problem here, and we did. We said that these people are available. We didn't need those people, so it was. And they said, well, no, they're too expensive. I said, but they can do what you need in 6 months, and you've been trying for a year, and you haven't been able to achieve it with a team of 10, and this is a team of 3. But they don't take them on because the CTO doesn't want to hire someone on more money than him, and so. Those things, those handcuffs need to be taken off, and we've done that, and we still have to be efficient, right? So we're still running a really efficient company. We're just doing it with less people, but they're more skilled people. So we have a smaller base now than ever before, but I think we do 5 times the amount of work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. And what would you say are like some attributes of a great leader in general, James? I mean, again, a leader of people, a leader of a company, those two things are always not the same thing.
No, I mean, it's difficult. I think there's lots of different leaders have different attributes. I mean, I think that years ago, I was 24 years old, and I was a manager in a casino, and my boss back then said, look at the leaders around you and take all the good bits and make sure you copy those and don't copy others. And I think I've been trying to do that for 30 years. So I think you need to have integrity. You need to have an experienced calmness. I think if you're calm and you don't panic, I think it gives people confidence around you. So I think that's a key to have a calmness and not panic. I think absolutely you have to be brave. I think the number one thing is that I lean into risk. I take on risk as part of the job. Everyone around me that works for me becomes used to it, and it's part of every day that we take risk. And it's not risk to the company, it's risk as far as you don't get rewards unless you're brave. And my biggest advice to any CEO or upcoming CEO is unless you're brave, you won't get the rewards, and then you won't win. And when people are talking about strategy is about winning. There's no other. If you look up the word strategy in the dictionary, I think it says winning. So if you want to win and you want the reward of winning, then you have to be brave, and you have to be really used to risk, and you have to get used to it. And I think that it helps if you're a people person. I think that I lean on people skills the most. I know that I like being around people. I like being in people's company, and I like listening. And so I try and listen twice and speak once, which is the other. Everyone talks about it, but I don't think a lot of people do it. So you hear a lot of leaders, and you walk into meeting rooms and they speak for an hour, and you have a meeting where lots of people aren't speaking. And so, moving away from those things is important. But be brave, take risks. They pay out the rewards. I think that's the number one.
A concept that goes a bit hand in hand with that is a kind of new concept that was born out of Silicon Valley recently, and there's been a lot of fuss around this in media, which is called founder mode. It's been a lot in media and so on, and it was a talk that was given by the CEO for Airbnb to Y Combinator. It's a launch pad of some of the most successful startups in Silicon Valley, and the talk was centered a lot around a phenomenon that tends to happen with startups, where a founder comes in with a lot of energy, builds a successful company, and is then kind of talked into delegating a lot of the responsibility to their professional managers, and then the company goes into decline.
Yeah, I get it. I think in order to be a leader, you have to be massively ambitious.
Yeah.
I don't hide my ambition.
No. And that's what I'm getting a lot from how you're explaining the changes that you have made, because founders can often have this like a bit neurotic energy about their company. They know every single little detail in and out. And
it's important.
Yeah, and the founders, I think, often are accused for being micromanagers as a result from that by their staff. But nonetheless, they do produce incredible results for the organization. And this is the kind of premise of this kind of founder mode type explanation, where, from the outside, it looks like this person is not a great manager because they are so in the weeds with things, and accused for being a micromanager. Staff is always not happy about this kind of very in-touch style by the founder. But again, at the same time, the founder produces this amazing result. Now, I think the point of founder mode is, if you're always in the weeds, and if you know every single detail about your company, as you explained earlier, you will identify immediately what are the problems and how to solve it.
Correct.
And if you come in with that huge energy, and you come with so much heart that you want this business to do the best that it possibly can, you'll be pushing constantly. And that energy is what will carry the company to continued success. No,
for sure. I think that the senior management team feed off the ambition of whoever's leading, and that becomes their ambition, and then that it's like a trickle and wave effect throughout the people. So if everyone feeds it, it's like an energy. And I don't think that I micromanagement at all. I give people their space. I let people make mistakes. When they do make mistakes, I'm there as a mentor rather than standing there with a stick saying you did something wrong. Most people, if they make a bad mistake, they probably won't do it again. I think it's really important to understand and speak to people, but I think that the problem with a lot of companies, when we talk about the layers, I think that's where it goes wrong. When you have too many layers, and the founders, the reason why they do well is because they don't have a lot of layers. And when companies become very corporate, they just add consistently layers and layers and layers of different people in a company, which means you can never see the bottom. And so I think you can be a CEO without being in founder mode, but reducing the layers allows you to see the bottom.
Yeah, and I think also, it is very hard to find staff that really takes the company to heart. Like really, that if the company doesn't do well, they feel it. And again to find, like, it also comes from the top somewhat. Then so if you bring that energy from the top downwards, and if this is what you kind of require, in your case, turning around Yggdrasil is not just about you taking decisions and changing people, but it's also giving that information to people that we are here to roll up our sleeves now, and we're going to do what it takes. And it's going to be hard, for some period of time.
Yeah, but I want everyone in the company to be proud of it, to say, I was part of this reinvention of this brand, and I'm proud to be part of it. I mean, everyone works for a salary. Me, Alex, Jose, everyone in the company works for a salary, but a salary is part of the reason why you work.
Exactly.
It's not the whole reason why you work. So if you're happy with your remuneration, the next part is that makes you really happy in a job is people saying thank you every day for doing a great job and being part of something, and being accountable. And we try and I think that we try and call that out. We don't have a meeting once a month or once a year and say thank you to people. Like there's thank yous every day, and I think people really feel proud of what they're trying to achieve with us.
Yeah, but I think also the danger, because we're talking a little bit about today of like how do you avoid the decline in a company, and I think oftentimes what happens is that you start off in a really difficult period, and everyone recognizes that we are fighting for our lives to some extent, but then when the company starts doing well is where the actual risk is. Let's say that people do become complacent, and they're like, 100%. Now we have done it, so now now I want to take a little bit more vacation time. I want to.
But that's why good people fail.
That's it. Yep.
That's why you've put it in a nutshell. That's why good people fail.
Yeah.
Because they get to the high, and then they stop reinventing. They stop looking for new product. They stop trying to be disruptive. They're just trying to hold.
Yes.
And when you hold, you become a BlackBerry or a Kodak or a Blockbusters, or because you're not trying to reinvent yourself. You're gonna go into decline. You're gonna start on the slide, and then it's really difficult to get off.
Yeah, and that's the important moment for a CEO. Let's say that if the company starts doing well and you start getting that signals from your staff that the company is starting to become a little bit more complacent and people feel comfortable now that it's doing well and so on, that's when change is needed again.
Yeah, you have to reinvent again. Yeah. And you have to, and that's where you have to make really fast decisions yet again. If we become the largest aggregator of content, which I hope we would do by 2026, or sometime in 2026, we will need a new North Star because we've achieved it. So then everyone needs a new goal, something else to go after, but something that feels that you can actually reach it.
Yeah.
You have to be able to think that you can touch it, otherwise it feels too far away. And so we have, we're in our first phase of North Star, but we have more that we would like to achieve after we hit the first one, that we will go and tell our people, right, we've done that, it's a fantastic job, now we need to go and do this. And that's what's exciting, that there will continually be North Stars to go after, because I think that's what drives people in their day-to-day job. I mean, we have five, we have our main North Star, and then we have like another 4. And if anyone in the company isn't doing a job that's associated with one of those 5, they should go and speak to their manager, or me, or any of the senior management team to say, I'm not delivering value to the company's goals. And we've aligned all of our teams, all of our people, all of our projects in exactly that way. So everyone knows whatever they're delivering on a daily basis it's delivering to the big goal of the company. So everyone feels that they have buy-in and value to what we're trying to achieve.
Brilliant. And so going back to the question again of letting staff go, it's a difficult decision, of course, not just from a personal basis, but you're also thinking like, am I taking the right decision? Because you might have some information, but not all, and so on. How do you, like, knowing that you need to make a big transformation in the company, how do you take a decision to let someone go? What is the processes that you have in place to take that decision?
It's really difficult. I think that's why it's easier when you're new, because you don't do it personally. I think that you have to look at the skill sets that you're going to need to achieve your North Star. And then you have to look at the skill sets of the people that you have around you and are available to you. And you have to make a really cold decision. Are these the people that are going to get me there? And if the answer is no, then you have to deal with that in a good way, in a kind way, or as kind as you can. No one likes to be laid off. No one takes it well, even if they know it's coming. But you have to do it quickly. You know, you shouldn't let someone sit there knowing that they're thinking that it's going to happen in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months' time. You know, you should be respectful and deal with it really fast. And we've all made mistakes and let people go that we shouldn't have. But I don't think I've met any CEO ever in my career that said that they shouldn't have gone faster, you know, and that they went too quickly and they made decisions too quickly.
Right.
Everyone that I've spoken to that's done things that they've regretted, it's because they didn't make decisions quick enough.
Yeah.
And that's whether it's a decision of where the company should go or to let people go. And normally, I would say, it's more to do with letting people go and changing the status quo of the teams they got around them.
Yeah. And because another danger perhaps that you feel fearful of is, if I let too many people go, then maybe the company will collapse. Or
it never does. It never does. You know, we made drastic changes when I joined, and everyone was like, well, you know, how are we going to run? But we did. And if you don't make drastic changes, you can't bring in the change that's needed. You can't do change slowly. You don't have time to do change slowly. As I said, average tenure of a CEO is 2 years. If it takes you 12 months to make changes, it's going to take you another year to realize the changes you've made. By then you've run out of time. You know, you're still in decline. Shareholders are irritated. Owners are irritated because nothing's happened quick enough. And during that time where you've deliberated for 12 months on all the things that you need to do, that's another 12 months you've lost and another 12 months of decline. So if you have 3 years of decline and it takes you 12 months, you've got 4 years of decline. That's going to be a lot steeper curve to get out of. So you need to change as fast as possible, because otherwise, you know, so I kind of pride myself in not panicking. You know, I try to be a non-panicked CEO. So whatever you throw at me, I'm always kind of level, but I always panic about time.
And someone said to me once that how to know if you need to let a person go is if you ask yourself your question, if this person would resign, would I do anything to keep them? And if the answer is no, then they probably should be let go. Yeah, for sure. I think, to be honest, I think all of us know in the back of our minds who should stay and who should go all the time. Yeah. It's empathy that stops you doing it, and friendship, and having difficult conversations. But part of being a CEO is having difficult conversations. So part of a CEO is being lonely, right? It's part of the job. So, you know, if you're not willing to do that, then you're probably going to fail as a CEO. Yeah, brilliant. And so talk a little bit more where the company is today and the achievements that you had, because the reason why this conversation is so interesting is because it's so easy to pinpoint what a company should do, what are the right theories and so on, but you actually have done it. So can you talk a little bit more about the results now of this incredibly fast change that you've done?
So I think the first thing is everyone knows us as a content provider of slots. So we're now delivering games at half the cost, at twice the speed, and twice the value. So it's twice the quality. So already we've completely turned around our product portfolio, and this year with the same size team as we had when I took over, we will deliver twice as many games. This year Yggdrasil will deliver 24 bespoke games, all with brand new math profiles, no reskins, and all at a higher quality and a better pace than before. And one of the things that's helped us do that is, I mean, we've got new people in, we've promoted, people on the floor who were like Range Rover. We found the people who designed the Evoque internally, who really knew what we should be doing, and we trusted them. And I think that's one of the really great stories about Yggdrasil so far, is that we now have a massively high performing content team, and we have tech behind it that are helping us break barriers about how we build slots, and you'll see from us in the future, I won't talk about it today, but that we're working on ways of building slots faster and better every day. So I think that's one of the biggest things that's happened so far, and I think also on a tech point of view, we've built an API that protects us now from customers trying to hack us. We've gone live on crypto. We stop people every day trying to abuse our content, and I think that really focusing on the things that are important, security, IT security, cutting edge technology, spectacular people, all of that has meant that we've come out of a decline in a 12-month period, and we've done it all while we've done that change. So in 2025 we expect a 100% uplift in EBITDA this year over last year, and we think it's really achievable, and again it's something that has been able to happen because we made so many changes, and we were so brave as a team in order to make those changes happen.
Yeah, brave is the lead word.
Yeah,
when you run a company.
Yeah, you have to be brave. Yeah.
Yes. Final question for you today, James. What is the future of the company? Where do you see the company in 3 years' time? You talked a little bit about 25, but in 3 years' time, where is the company when we sit here?
I think people will talk about us in 3 years' time as a tech company that's done great innovation and been hugely disruptive to the industry. I think we will 100% be the largest aggregator of content in the industry, and I think that we will have branched out into other areas. So, that who's to say whether we won't become an operator or do payments or anything else. I mean, the platform that our platform and engineering team have built is a spectacular piece of work, and it can take huge load from lots of different products, and so we're already trying to think about our next North Star now, and try and reinvent ourselves for 27 while we're trying to achieve our North Star of 2026.
Brilliant, James. It's been great to get to know you over this year. It's been great to have you back in the podcast, and I'm looking forward to follow up and see where we're at in the following years.
I'm looking forward to doing it again next year. Thanks very much. Take care.
Thank you, James.